Frieza vs Mewtwo is one of the oldest and most well-known versus matchups in internet history. Despite its infamy, it's often hated due to its lack of similarities between the two by comparison to something like Goku vs Superman, and it's incredibly a one-sided fight, or at least that's how it's perceived. And I am not here to compare them in an actual fight context, as this YouTube video's comment section is already going to be toxic enough with the shitstorm that is Dragon Ball Pokemon scaling combined, so I'll be making yet another equal stats video. If you don't know what that is, basically an equal stats video is basically just like every other versus video, but with one key twist, being that power, durability, and speed of the two fighters are made equal, so it's down to the abilities, intellect, fighting styles, and other such features as to who would win in order to see who's a better pound-for-pound fighter. I know this is my third Dragon Ball equal stats video in a row, but you guys voted for this, so you only have yourselves to blame. If you enjoyed this video, then make sure to like and subscribe, and let's just get on to it. Let's start with Frieza. Frieza has been the dictator of many galaxies for decades, conquering worlds and is incredibly intelligent and cunning. His combat ability also reflects this as well, being able to fight Goku on equal footing. This is the same Goku who's trained in martial arts his whole life, one-shot other martial artists, and is so skilled he can keep up with people much stronger than him with just pure skill alone. He also has a ton of abilities to further back up his combat experience, such as enhanced senses, acrobatics, flight and space flight, self-sustenance, and accelerated development. The main ability that Frieza has access to is the ability to manipulate ki. With this, he can fire off energy blasts, sense where other people are, create defensive barriers, and attack people with homing attacks. On top of this, he has shockwaves generation, after image creation, paralysis inducement, power mimicry for ki-based attacks, telekinesis, explosion manipulation, body control, type 2 immortality, being able to regenerate his tail from being cut off, through his transformations at least. He also has pressure points blasts and has supernatural willpower due to surviving endless torture in hell, being able to unable to move and yet was still able to keep himself sane. Frieza also has resistance to a few abilities as well, such as to extreme colds and cosmic radiations, empathic manipulation, void manipulation, and existence erasure, as he was able to hold back destruction energy, which erases things and souls from existence. He has many techniques as well, as there is firstly the Death Ball, which is just a powerful ki-based attack, the Death Beam, which can pierce things much easier, the Death Cycle Bomb, a small invisible sphere which can cause people to go flying up into the air and explode, the Death Sorcerer, which can cut through things much more powerful than Frieza, the Death Wave, which is a technique which releases a razor-sharp energy blade, the Imprisonment Ball allows Frieza to trap his enemies within a sphere of ki, the Nova Strike is a move that Frieza can use to just amplify his physical stats as he slams into them. The Cage of Light is his last technique, which is basically when Frieza creates, a cage of light with his death beams, but he can't keep it up for ages. Frieza also has an insane pain tolerance and endurance levels, being able to fight Goku even after taking serious punishment from the likes of the Spirit Bomb, and even after he was cut in half, blasted by Goku, and the planet that he was on blowing up on him, Frieza was still able to survive long enough to be saved by his father, which is a wild endurance feat. Of course, his 100% form will diminish his stamina, but he doesn't need to use it anymore due to his golden form, which is much stronger. In terms of weaknesses, Frieza is very arrogant and statistic, preferring to prolong an opponent's suffering rather than killing them right away, meaning that he could very well be caught off guard if he's too complacent. He also doesn't really have much in the way of weapons, only really having such things like a scouter and a transformation pod, if that even counts. Mewtwo is an incredibly powerful being. For starters, he was genetically engineered to be the most powerful Pokemon ever. Granted, this is only really applicable at Generation 1 or Kanto Pokemon, but it's still a pretty intense statement to say he's the perfect Pokemon, because there are Pokemon such as Alakazam with an IQ of 5,000. This isn't even a one-off statement either, with the Pokedexes of Pokemon Red, Crystal, Sapphire, Leaf Green, Diamond, Y, Alpha Sapphire, Sun, and Brilliant Diamond all stating this. Keep in mind that the likes of Albert Einstein had an IQ of 160, and it's a pretty insane implication. Of course, Mewtwo doesn't have intelligence feats on this level, but with the implication being made of the perfect Pokemon, the potential intelligence levels of Mewtwo is pretty insane. Even if you don't buy that, Mewtwo is still incredibly smart, being able to recreate entire DNA machines and being able to fight off Genesect, despite Genesect having a type advantage over Mewtwo. Mewtwo also has pretty damn good stamina and endurance, as even average Pokemon can fight for days on end and battle over and over again without break, such as traversing through a dungeon with 99 floors, all with high level enemies, meaning that, you know, he's definitely got high levels of endurance, especially being able to sweep, or very easily being able to sweep champion level trainers who have trained for ages and ages. Mewtwo also has some busted abilities such as telekinesis, having an immortal life force, self-sustenance, telepathy, memory manipulation, weather manipulation, illusion creation, and mind manipulation, being able to control Nurse Joy's mind and wipe memories easily. He'll also have flight, space flight, force field creation, invisibility, teleportation, explosion manipulation, power absorption, drain, swap, and transfer power nullification, energy manipulation, energy projection, statistics inducement involving confusion, sleep, paralysis, burn, and freeze, time travel, after image creation, reality warping, summoning, damage reflection, being able to create a barrier which has a 50% chance of reversing the effects done to Mewtwo, regeneration, reactive power level, passive self-resurrection, healing, metal manipulation, air manipulation, ice manipulation, proficiency with fighting with blades and spoons, elemental manipulation, fear manipulation with the unnerve ability, empathic manipulation, precognition with future sight, enhanced senses, being able to see invisible people, cloning, power mimicry, Danmaku, sleep manipulation, statistics amplification, missing, temporarily boosts the physical and special stats, limited casualty manipulation with the Miracle Eye, statistics reduction, petrification, light manipulation, darkness manipulation, resistance negation, being able to negate immunity to psychic attacks, and Swift can also bypass the ability to dodge. Transmutation, attack reflection, earth manipulation, homing attacks, non-physical interaction, pseudo-intangibility, spatial manipulation, conceal others and bubbles, and pocket reality manipulation. Mewtwo also has a plenty of resistances as well, such as to extreme colds, cosmic radiations, mind manipulation, sleep manipulation, telekinesis, petrification, and telepathy. Their mega forms also grant them abilities such as martial arts, elasticity, and resistance to earth manipulation, along with a higher resistance to sleep manipulation. Mewtwo doesn't have much in the way of weapons. Sure, they can create spoons and blades, but it doesn't have any inherently. The only item they can technically hold that's specific to Mewtwo is a Mega Stone. Techniques wise, and Mewtwo does have a lot. I've technically already covered all of these in the ability section, but I figured I'd go over them, just like the names and what they do. The move Life Dew can heal Mewtwo and his allies. Laser Focus causes the user's move to result in a critical hit until the end of the next turn. Disable makes the last move of the opponent being unable to be used again for a period of time. Confusion is a telekinetic attack which can cause confusion. Swift fires off stars that can't miss. Ancient Power fires off rocks of the enemy and gives a chance to boost all of Mewtwo's stats each time it's used. Psycho Cut is a sharp cutting attack which has a higher chance of critical hit. Safeguard prevents the user and its allies from being inflicted with non-violent status conditions and confusion. Amnesia can give boosts to the special defense stat. Aura Sphere is a blast of aura which cannot miss. Psychic is just a very powerful psychic attack which can also confuse enemies. Power Swap swaps the attack and special attack stats with the user and its target. Guard Swap swaps the defense and special defense stats with the target as well. Mist protects the user from having stats decreased by the opponent. Psy Strike is Mewtwo's strongest and signature move, which materializes an odd psychic wave to attack the enemy. And Recover can also allow Mewtwo to heal themselves. Future Sight creates a very powerful attack which will hit the opponent later on in the battle. Now, that's all the moves that Mewtwo can learn normally. This is important to note because Mewtwo can learn other moves besides this with TMs, HMs as well, but that requires the use of a trainer, which is technically outside help. Mewtwo, of course, also does have some weaknesses, such as the Bug, Ghost, and Dark type moves. In cross-verse debates, it's pretty hard to apply though, due to the fact that besides if it's something like Fire, a weakness like that is kind of hard to distinguish. It's also important to note the Mega Mewtwo X is weak to Flying and Fairy moves. So how does this fight go down? I'll quickly get out of the way one stipulation that some of you might be saying of his equal stats. That is that Frieza can just go into his golden form and therefore just way stronger than Mewtwo, and vice versa if Mewtwo just Mega Evolving into Mega Mewtwo Y. These would defeat the purpose of the video, so for argument's sake, they're still just going to be equal. For starters, Frieza does have a few advantages. Firstly, he has more experience than Mewtwo, with Mewtwo only really existing for a couple of decades at most. Well, Frieza's been around for much much longer. Frieza also has much better hand-to-hand combat skills than Mewtwo. Even if we grant Mewtwo martial arts skills in his Mega X form, Frieza has way more skilled martial arts, feats, and Mewtwo would just get outboxed that way. Also, the Death Sorcerers are also a way to one-shot or at least fatally damage Mewtwo if they were to hit him. This is due to the fact that there's a better version of the Destructo Disc, which can cut through enemies much stronger than a user, so in an equal stats fight, Frieza would have a way to one-shot. Frieza would also have resistances to the likes of Mewtwo's Empathic Manipulation and Ice attacks, however, Mewtwo does have a lot more going for them here. Being much more versatile than Frieza, they could very easily put them on the back foot. Not to mention OP abilities that Frieza doesn't really have answers for, such as putting him to sleep, wiping his memories, and warping reality as well. Not to mention that Mewtwo's regeneration is much more potent than Frieza's, and the ability Miracle Eye can also allow Mewtwo to redo a move if it doesn't work the first time. There's also the fact that Mewtwo can also use her Petrification as an insta-win. It can also nullify some of Frieza's abilities too, either making Frieza weaker, Mewtwo stronger, or outright just not allowing Frieza to use certain abilities. Time Travel is a broken ability, and Frieza doesn't really have an answer for it, but at the same time, Time Travel within Dragon Ball doesn't quite allow the Time Traveler to instant win, as all it does is cause an alternate reality to form instead. So this isn't even to mention the fact that Mewtwo is much smarter than Frieza. It could very easily exploit his arrogance weakness and land pretty big hits, especially with their precognition, allowing them to dodge pretty big attacks. So I would say that Mewtwo simply just has more going for it to win. Even if Mewtwo and Frieza are both bloodlusted, Mewtwo just has more ways to one-shot Frieza than Frieza has with Mewtwo. Mewtwo can negate some of Frieza's insta-wins, and unlimited casualty manipulation and precog can also allow Mewtwo to dodge vital hits. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more equalized stats videos, make sure to leave a like in the comment down below. Comment your opinions on the matchup, and I'll see you next time.